Okay, so welcome. Today, I want to talk to you about how to improve your equality, how to improve your fertility. Okay, so it doesn't even matter if you're just struggling with poor equality or low MH, diminished ovarian reserves, or premature ovarian failure. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about how to improve your fertility no matter what unique fertility issue that you are dealing with. Okay. And the thing is that usually most women wait until the New Year's, to create their New Year's resolutions, which typically don't last long. And I think that's a huge reason why a lot of women don't necessarily get the results that they want by the end of the year that they're trying to conceive. So today, I want to give you some steps, some strategies that I actually use in my fertility programs, such as my feminine fertility lifestyle program and my fertility frequency program. I'm going to be giving you clear steps, okay, on what you can do. So I hope you have your pen and your paper ready today, because this is not going to be one of my regular videos. Um, today I'm actually giving you some things that you can really sort of post on your wall and keep with you for the entirety of the year. Okay, so if you don't know who I am by now, my name is Natasha Winter. I am a natural fertility coach. I help women to conceive naturally without pain, meds, or IVF. Okay, even if you have been told that donor eggs are your only option, or again, that there's nothing you can do. I'm going to give you some things that you can do today. Okay. So, the best part about this, again, most of the tips that I'm giving you, they're free. You don't have to go out and buy a whole bunch of things. And again, these are things that you can start implementing today. Everything I'm going to share with you is actionable. So again, my goal here is to help to ease any of your anxiety that you have about waiting to conceive, or any stress or anything related to that going forward. So to begin, again, I'm going to be giving you clear steps. So one thing I just want to make sure is that make sure to watch this whole video to the end, because I am going to be giving you 5 steps, 5 strategies that you can again implement today. So don't just watch one of the strategies, don't just watch one of the things. I want you to get all of it. Okay, so one of the first things that you can do is actually improve your mindset as it relates to fertility issues, okay? Or as it relates to fertility and reproduction in general. So one of the problems here is that we have been told so many myths, okay, about fertility, reproduction, your cycle, and a lot of the things that we have been told, they're either myths or they're misinformation. So you probably have heard that you have a 28-day cycle, or all women have a 28-day cycle, and that you ovulate on day 14. Maybe you think, or maybe you have, again, just from being amongst so many women who have this problem, maybe you think that a 7 to 9 day period is normal, right? So if you're bleeding for 7 to 9 days, it might be normal, but it is not necessarily natural. It is definitely not placing you in the healthy range, because you're going to be losing a lot of iron, you're going to be losing a lot of energy, a lot of your nutrients are going to be shed with that. And again, it could be a sign that there's something else wrong, right? So a lot of women think that that is normal, okay, or that that's just regular, that's okay. It's not necessarily okay. Okay, something you need to pay attention to, what I'm trying to say here. Another myth that most recently and most commonly is that, again, you cannot improve fertility, you cannot improve equality. Sorry, not necessarily most recent or most common, but very most common is that you cannot do anything to improve your fertility. That is a very common and a very big fertility myth, okay, that I remember just hearing about even before I really started looking into becoming a fertility coach. And that was one of the things that really sort of drove me to become one, is that I knew that this misinformation was being shared, right? So again, that's a myth. That is that's a mindset problem, actually, right? Because again, you're internalizing this. But before I get too far ahead of myself, another myth is that, very similar to the last one I just mentioned, is that donor eggs are your only option. This is the one that I have been hearing more commonly, more recently, getting common and recent mix up. But one of the more recent ones that you may have heard yourself is that, again, donor eggs are your only option. Okay. And this usually is what women who do have poor egg quality or low egg quality are being told. Okay, so the problem with these myths is that it causes you to make a lot of mistakes along the way. Okay, so one of the mistakes that women tend to make, because they believe in these myths and misinformation, is that they are timing conception for the wrong dates. Okay, so if you continuously are timing your conception for, let's say, day 14 every single month, because you believe that all women ovulate on on day 14 and have a 28-day cycle, you could consistently be missing your chance to conceive, consistently be missing the actual day that you individually, as your unique self, ovulate, because you believe in this myth, right? And again, none of this is your fault. It's not your fault that you believe in these myths, or that you are receiving this misinformation, okay? Because you don't necessarily know what else is out there. And again, a lot of these things are things that we learned at a very young age, either in school or even on the television or social media or things like YouTube, right? So again, it's not your fault, but if you believe in the myths, it leads to you making mistakes, right? And again, this is one of the reasons why shifting your mindset or improving your mindset, raising your fertility awareness around this is going to help you, okay? And is one of the steps that I want you to really pay attention, right, to. So again, another mistake that you're going to make as a result is thinking that IVF or artificial reproductive technologies are the only solution. Okay, because if you don't believe, if you've been told the myth that there is nothing you can do to improve fertility and donor eggs are your only option, well, then there is already laid out for you the path to IVF, right? So that can actually be a huge mistake for you, especially if you are someone that doesn't necessarily want to take medication or drugs, or doesn't like pain, doesn't like swallowing a ton of pills, doesn't like having to travel outside of the home, to sit in a clinic, an office all of the time, several days a week, or, just injecting yourself with needles. That might not be for you. That could be a huge mistake and really take you sort of further and further away from your goal of achieving a baby and getting pregnant this or next year, right? So another mistake that can come about from this is not managing your other fertility issues like fibroids, PCOS, endometriosis, block tubes, and the list goes on, because you were told that there's nothing you can do, right? So again, if you believe there's nothing you can do about these fertility issues, you're not going to do anything about them. And then these other issues that you are also told don't affect your fertility are going to go on to affect your fertility, because we're also told that you can't do anything about fibroids and endometriosis. We're told you can't do anything about these, and then on top of that, we're told that they don't actually affect fertility. I find that to be a huge myth, a huge misinformation. Really, especially when it comes to fibroids, because fibroids can actually, drain a lot of nutrients from you. PCOS is a sign that, again, you may have ovulation issues or other hormonal imbalances. All of these really are, endometriosis, PCOS, and fibroids are all signs and symptoms that something else is wrong with your reproductive hormones and system, right? So to just blindly say that, oh no, that doesn't affect fertility or reproduction, I don't agree with that, right? So another mistake when it comes to your mindset, or another problem when it comes to your mindset about fertility, is your memory. So when you're told these myths and you're making these mistakes, they sort of reaffirm what you believe to be true, which affects, again, your memory in terms of who you are and the power that you possess, and how you are able to bring about change in your life and how you are able to manifest things that you desire, right? And so I put this in here because I think that's one of the key things, is that you are the most important factor, when it comes to your fertility and whatever it is that you're dealing with. So when you're dealing with the mindset, we also have to factor in, you should also factor in what you want, who you are, and the power that you possess, right? And so a lot of times we end up just relying on misinformation because we forget who we are. We also forget old ways that actually do work, that actually did work. So such as ancient fertility techniques or ancient fertility rituals that our ancestors used, they are still using today in countries like Suriname, Jamaica, and some parts of Africa. Okay, such as doing things like different womb care and different womb practices that help to stimulate fertility and egg quality, and using certain other things, which I'm going to mention in a couple minutes, right? And so as a result, we lose confidence, or you may lose confidence in yourself and your ability to improve your fertility and get pregnant naturally, right? So focusing on your mindset is going to really help. And one example, one thing that you can actually do, remember I said I'm going to give you steps that you can do. One thing that you can do is to actually practice a mindset activity every single day in the morning for at least 15 minutes. And it's really, really beneficial if you can do this when you first wake up in the morning. Okay. And so this can look like saying positive affirmations. Okay. It can also look like reviewing your vision board that you have created for the year. Okay, if you've created one. If you haven't created one, I have a beautiful vision board training that I did. If you want access to that, definitely reach out to me and let me know. Okay, so reviewing your vision board. Also setting your manifestations, your intentions, and your goals for the day, and actually manifesting them. These are some things that you can do first thing in the morning for at least 15 minutes, and that I recommend to my clients in, again, both of my programs that I mentioned to you. So let me just make sure everything is okay on my end. All right, so everything's okay. All right, so when you do this, you're going to notice, again, one of the huge benefits out of this is that you're going to start to increase your self-worth, okay? And this is really important. This is really important. Oh, excuse me, Missy. Excuse me. Okay, this is really important if, again, you're finding that you have a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress when it comes to waiting to conceive, or again, just going through the different things that you may be doing that aren't working, okay? These mindset practices are going to, again, they're going to shift your belief system. They're going to, again, cause you to have more self-confidence, more self-worth, okay? And it's also going to help you to really sort of refocus and reframe who you are in the whole, the grand scheme of things, and again, the power that you possess, right? And so this is also going to help you to unlearn the myths, is because you're going to start to see that you actually are making changes, especially if you do the other things I'm going to mention to you. You're going to start to see that, things are improving, or that you actually can affect change. And again, this is going to help you to unlearn the myths and the misinformation. It's going to help you to update your fertility awareness as you see for yourself that, again, you actually are making progress if you continue watching and do the other steps I'm going to mention. Okay. And again, just help you to refocus your mindset, right? So step number two, and let me just go back. Step number one was to make sure that you are doing your affirmations, or some sort of mindset activity in the morning. So it doesn't have to be affirmations. It could be, there are some other things that I teach that help with mindset aside from that. But affirmations is like a really, really quick and easy thing that you can do. Okay. Step number two is to improve your nutrition. Okay. So diet and nutrition is really, really big. I'm preferring to use the word nutrition rather than diet, because I don't want to mislead you into thinking that you need to diet in order to improve your fertility or your egg quality or any of your reproductive issues. You do not need to go on any kind of diet, okay, in order to improve your fertility. You do not need to practice any sort of like very restrictive diet that, you know, you're going to stop, okay, and then you're going to feel bad, or you're going to feel like, you know, you need to get back on this diet or something. No, you don't need to do any diets. So what we want to focus here on is nutrition. Okay. So we're talking about step 2, and I'm just shifting her over just to make sure he's getting her nutrition. She ain't playing today. All right, so step number 2, again, is nutrition. You want to make sure that you are getting proper nutrition, because one of the biggest issues when it comes to fertility is that women tend to be deficient in a lot of nutrients, a lot of minerals, vitamins, what have you. And so, and this is another thing that stems from, again, the misinformation that we receive, because we were told, okay, not too long ago, that you couldn't do diet didn't really mean anything, you know, when it came to health. You couldn't improve cancer, you couldn't heal diseases, you couldn't overcome certain illnesses. Like, diet wasn't a factor, okay. And especially when it came to fertility, even when it came to fertility, we were also told that your nutrition, or your, you know, your diet, if you want to use that word, didn't affect your fertility. But that is also false. That is also misinformation, okay? Sure, you can get pregnant on a very poor nutrients, you know, restrictive, or lacking in nutrient rich diet, okay? But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have the best outcome, okay, or that the baby that you conceive is not going to go on to have issues later in life due to the diet that the mother, you consumed, or the mother consumed while pregnant, right? So nutrition is very important, because again, one of the problems is women have very poor nutrition, and this could be eradicated first thing in the morning if you eat a proper breakfast, right? But a lot of women don't even eat breakfast in the morning. So we have 2 problems here. One, you're not getting the nutrition that you need. That's going to fuel you for the day, okay? And then 2, you also, if you don't eat a breakfast in the morning, and it's a certain type of breakfast I'm going to mention in a minute, if you don't eat breakfast in the morning, you are also setting your hormones up for disruption, okay? Because now your body is trying to sort of help you to balance cortisol, help you to balance the lack of energy that you have, okay? And this can throw your reproductive hormones off. So another problem with when it comes to nutrition is eating too much carbs, okay? And it doesn't matter what time of the day this is, okay? So eating too much carbs, yes, yes, I know. Eating too much carbs, okay, can also throw your nutrition off. And carbs does not just mean bread. Carbs does not just mean rice. You can also, certain fruits and vegetables can also be very high in carbs as well, okay? Sugar is considered a carb. So don't think, oh, carbs is just, white flour or bread, or, muffins, cookies, cakes, and things like that. No, there's liquid carbs, okay, that you're drinking if you're, just getting a lot of very sugary lattes, or if your coffee's high in sugar. Those could also be considered carbs as well. Okay, another problem is just plain out eating an unhealthy diet. So just, maybe too much fast food, maybe, it's the food you eat is too greasy, too overcooked, where it has, burnt spots on it. Those are not good for your fertility. So I actually have to plug my computer in. So Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, so like I was saying, just eating an unhealthy diet can also affect your fertility. So we're talking about again, the sugary snacks. We're talking about processed foods, foods that have been deneutralized, where they've been bleached, it's been grounded up 1,000 times, and then reformed and reshaped into something that we don't even recognize in nature. Dipped in a whole bunch of sauces that are also, again, processed. And again, you get my point. Unhealthy foods, okay, are also a problem when it comes to nutrition, because not only does your body have to digest these foods, but because sometimes these foods are lacking in nutrients and energy, that digestion process, it has to take nutrients from other parts of your body in order to like make it so your body recognizes the chemical structures so it can eliminate it. And then sometimes these foods are like, they're just so high in estrogen that your body can't, it can't digest it can't break it, like it can't break down. So it stores in your body, the estrogen stores in your body in the form of fat until your body can figure out what to do with it. Okay. And again, the list goes on and on. So another problem when it comes to, not a problem. We're going to talk about solutions now. So one thing, again, that you can do when it comes to nutrition is, like I mentioned, start eating a healthy breakfast. And again, like I said, not just any type of breakfast. You want to eat a protein-rich breakfast, okay? So a protein-rich breakfast looks like consuming maybe dark leafy greens, maybe some spinach, maybe some like kale or something with protein in it. And again, yes, you can get protein from kale, you can get protein from spinach, you can get protein from plants, right? But not only that, you can also get your protein from legumes and beans. I was watching a video of where were they? Oh my gosh, I can't remember. But they were in a country. It's India. It was like Africans in India. They were shown how like there's a tribe of Africans that live in India, and for breakfast they eat lentils. Like this is something maybe here in the West we think, oh, you only eat legumes or beans at night or for dinner. No, they were eating it for breakfast. Okay, so things like chickpeas, you could eat that, and that will also help you with your calcium levels, right? So you can definitely get protein, okay, from non-animal sources. If you're vegan or anything like that, you can also get protein from things like nuts and seeds, like tahini, um, and I'm trying to think of one more. If you consume nutritional yeast, it's also high in protein, but a really good protein is spirulina. So you can also, take supplements, which I'm going to talk about some more in this same section here. So make sure you continue to listen, right? And so another thing you can do is avoid consuming too much sugar in the morning, like I mentioned before, because again, too much sugar is going to spike your insulin levels in the morning, and your body is going to have trouble balancing it out, balancing the insulin levels, okay, that have been spiked. And this can lead to energy crashes in the evening, where you feel like you just don't have energy. Come on, don't do that. Okay, so you want to save your smoothies, okay, and your granola bars and things like that. If you consume those, you want to save that for lunch or a snack, okay, later on in the day, right? You also might want to save things like your bananas and your dates, mangoes, fruits and things like that. You might also want to save that for later in the day as well, right? So Another thing you can do is to eat a more intuitively macronutrient rich diet or balanced diet. So what I mean by this is you do not have to count carbs, or you do not have to like use the MyFitnessPal or any type of app to count your macronutrients. You can pretty much look at certain foods once you understand which foods are high in the different macronutrients. And if you don't know what macronutrients are, that is your fat, your protein, and your carbs. You can pretty much, if you have an idea of which foods are high in fat, which foods are high in carbohydrates, and which foods are high in protein, then all you have to do is pretty much eat more protein and fats than carbs. Okay, or eat what feels right to you, and eat the foods that make you feel good after you eat them. So if you notice, when you consume a lot of chips, yeah. Okay. So when you consume a lot of chips or a lot of bread, a lot of cookies, muffins, and stuff, usually you might feel sluggish, or you might even feel guilty, or just feel too full. If you don't feel good after you eat the food that you're consuming, then that is probably you not intuitively eating, right? So you want to eat foods that are going to make you feel good, right? And so again, I teach more about this in my course, but I just want to continue here if you are following with me. So we're talking about, again, eating a protein-rich breakfast. Again, for your fats, you can also get fats from like your avocados or coconut oil and things like that, if you are vegan or vegetarian. And I really, really encourage, if you're vegan or vegetarian and trying to conceive, that you do take some time to study macronutrients, because in my experience, vegans and vegetarians, we tend to think that if it's not meat, then it's healthy, when that's not necessarily true, right? You do need to make sure that you're getting the vitamins and minerals that you need, and the macronutrients in a certain type of balance, so that way you are not doing any harm to your hormones or your reproductive system. Okay, so again, you want to increase your protein, your monounsaturated fats, and reduce carbs. So these are steps that I'm giving you. Make sure you're writing them down. And then the next one in this same section here of nutrition is to consider supplementing your diet with herbal supplements. Okay, so I'm not talking about prenatal supplements. I'm not talking about multivitamins. I'm not talking about vitamins. I'm talking about herbal supplements. Okay, they're considered supplements when they're in the pill, or sorry, not pill. Well, sometimes you can get herbal supplements in pills, but they're considered supplements. Herbs are considered supplements when they are in like the powdered, the dried, tinctured, or even in some cases tea form. So don't think just because I'm saying supplements that I'm referring to prenatals, multivitamins, or vitamin pills or anything like that. I'm talking about actual herbs such as like red raspberry, nettle, old straw, maca, herbs like that. Okay, so herbs that are also considered food. And again, you don't want to consider or take all herbs. You do want to have an idea of what is a herb good for, what are the properties, what are the benefits, what are the contraindications, is it right for you and your body. So you might want to speak with a nutritionist, you might want to speak with your doctor, your healthcare provider. Don't just go taking herbs without knowing what you're doing. But one important thing, one reason why I suggest taking herbs is, again, because so many women are lacking in nutrients, especially when I meet them or when they come to me. One reason you want to take your supplements is that it takes about, again, 3 months for your body to store certain nutrients, right, in your body. And so if you're having things like recurrent miscarriages, okay, every time you conceive, every time you ovulate, let's start there. Every time you ovulate or have a menstrual cycle, you're shedding iron, you're shedding blood, you're shedding nutrients. Every time you conceive, you're using up a ton of energy. And we're going to talk about what you can do about that in a minute. Every time you miscarry, again, where you're also losing blood, you're also losing more nutrients, right? And when it comes to improving your fertility, again, you've heard one of the things that we've heard that is somewhat true, is again that you should prepare for conception at least 3 months before you conceive. And one of the reasons is that, again, you need to store up your folate, and you need to store certain nutrients like vitamin C, and certain nutrients that are especially water soluble. Okay, but just to touch on water soluble, fat soluble, this is another reason why you also want to consume your fats, is so that way you can also store your healthy fats as well. And just to be clear, when I speak about monounsaturated fats, they're not necessarily going to make you fat, or it's not a bad fat. Okay, so don't think that I'm talking about, again, the bad fats. I'm talking about good fats here, right? So the result that you're going to get from doing these three things, again, eating breakfast in the morning, eating a macronutriently rich diet, or balanced diet, I should say, macronutriently balanced diet, and again, taking certain herbal supplements, is that you're going to have better hormonal balance. You're going to have more stable energy, better and stable moods. And again, also, this is also going to help you to ease any anxiety that you may have about fertility, waiting to conceive, and getting pregnant this or next year. Okay, so did I mention it's also going to help with like your cycles, ovulation? Is going, if you have other fertility issues like fibroids, endometriosis, it can also help with that, right? So another thing that you're definitely going to, you're more than likely going to see the results of, is better egg quality. So if you have low egg quality, low AMH, diminished ovarian reserve, premature ovarian syndrome or symptom, you can expect to, again, see some improvement in that area as well. Okay. And again, that can take 3 to 6 months. You two can go. Stop. Go. Right. So some other results is that you're also going to have better chances of implantation and better chances of conception, which a lot of times when we're thinking about improving equality, a lot of times this gets missed, that implantation and conception are also two steps that need to be supported and nourished as well through nutrition as well, right? So number 3, okay, or before we go on, let me just refresh again. Make sure you're eating a protein-rich breakfast, eating a macronutrient balanced diet, okay, making sure you're getting those protein and monounsaturated fat, okay, and reducing carbs, and then again consuming certain supplements, so that way you make sure that if you're missing any other vitamins or minerals or nutrients in your body, that you're getting them through herbs, which, by the way, tend to be packed and nutrient rich and nutrient dense compared to a lot of the foods that we eat. So I know there's someone out there saying, oh, well, you can't get all the nutrients that you need from a balanced diet or, a healthy diet. Yes, you can, when you include foods into that diet. The American Food Pyramid does not have herbs on that list. Okay, you put those herbs on the list, it's going to throw a lot of stuff off that pyramid. Okay, so throw some herbs on the list, throw some herbal supplements. All right, so number three is self-care. Okay, so one way to also get pregnant is I'm not even going to say, okay, but whatever year you in, this stuff is good for no matter what year you are in. Another thing you can do to conceive, okay, to get pregnant and stay pregnant, okay, and improve your egg quality and all of that, is to practice self-care, okay, fertility self-care. The issue here is that as women, we are notorious for neglecting our womb, our eggs, and in some cases, vaginal care, okay? And I'm not just talking about hygiene. I'm talking about just even acknowledging that these structures they exist and that they need our attention, right? Compared to men who seem to be, we'd like to believe that they're always thinking about their sperm and their Venus and their performance, but compared to men, we typically are very low on the scale, okay, of acknowledging and tending to our womb and our reproductive system until there's a problem, right? Just to share a quick story, I come from a Jamaican background, Jamaican family. Both my parents are Jamaican, been there and all of that, right? Grew up amongst a lot of Jamaicans. Jamaican men, okay, are, well, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of Jamaican men are very aware of the herbs that they need to take in order to improve their fertility, their stamina. They are aware of the certain foods. Okay, there's a food. Close the door. There's a soup called manish water that a lot of Jamaicans, I almost started talking patois. There's a food called managed water that a lot of Jamaicans consume, and they believe that that helps to increase male fertility, okay, for them as well. So growing up, I was always aware that, like, men seemed to know, or just were more concerned with their fertility, their performance, their stamina. Like, there's literally songs about stamina. Like, it's kind of weird a little bit, but compared that we don't sing about um a lot of, there are songs, there are some women that do that, but like we typically don't have songs about like a woman, getting in touch with their femininity and stuff like that. And again, this is due to history and things that have happened in the past in history. And so it's time to turn the page, right? Time to again unlearn the myths and the mistakes, and to refocus and reprogram, okay, and reinstill, set our intentions for what we want, right? So again, when it comes to self-care, again, we tend to neglect our womb, our eggs, tubes, ovaries, vaginal, canal, all of that, right? And as a result, this also leads to, hormonal imbalance. Or if we have hormonal imbalance, we might neglect the hormonal imbalance. Like, we might know that we have estrogen dominance and not do anything about it. We might know that we have too much testosterone flowing in our blood, in our body, and still not do anything about it until it becomes an issue, a bigger problem, until we're ready to conceive, right? So, in the meantime, what's happening is that we're having mood issues, anxiety, stress, emotional instability, right? But what happens then? As women, we tend to also neglect our mood and our emotions, right? So it's three things here. We're neglecting our womb, eggs, ovaries, reproductive system, reproductive cycle, neglecting our hormonal imbalances, and neglecting our mood and emotions, right? And so again, by neglecting our moods and emotions, we tend to not have clear boundaries, okay? Not really being able to say no, and put prioritizing everybody else's needs and what everybody else wants done, and prioritizing other people in before we prioritize ourselves, or before we value ourselves, or instead of valuing ourselves, okay? And so if you're on your fertility journey and you're busy doing any and everything for everybody else, you might not have time for your self-care, because while you're doing something else for someone else, you're opening room for them to have self-care and them to do what they need, but they might not necessarily need all that, and you do instead. And you might need to, again, reprioritize. Not that you need to, we're going to talk about that. Okay, so the solution here is for you to prioritize fertility self-care in your life, for you to prioritize yourself, for you to prioritize your general needs and general self-care and general wants. Okay, they are important. The things that you want and need, that you may even have been told that you should not want and need, that you shouldn't be selfish, that you shouldn't do certain things because somebody else doesn't have, or because it's not fair, especially when you're not hurting or harming anyone, and you really, really desperately need to do certain things for yourself. Okay, those things need to be done. You need to prioritize your fertility self-care, especially. So when we're talking about self-care in this aspect, let's just focus on fertility self-care, because this is one of the self-care activities that just gets neglected and thrown all out the window, because there's other popular things that are considered self-care, such as doing your nails and doing your hair. There's nothing wrong with that, but that is not the self-care that I'm talking about here. And if you are doing those things, that's good, but that's not the only form of self-care, right? And so fertility self-care looks a little different. It looks like practicing natural fertility methods and doing them regularly, just like you would your hair, your nails, your skincare, your vajaxles, your whatever Jaxels. Oh my God. Okay, yes, this is why I have to remember sometimes. Okay, but yes, just like how you prioritize all of the other feminine, activities in your life, or even some things that are not necessarily considered feminine. Like, maybe you prioritize going to the gym, or you prioritize shopping. I guess that's feminine. I don't know. Maybe you prioritize other things like going to the grocery store, going to work. These things are all they all are prioritized in your life. Taking care of others, they're prioritized. Just like you do all of these things, then you have a budget and you set time aside and you put it on your calendar and your schedule and you make sure nothing comes in the way. You need to sort of, and you don't need to do anything, but my suggestion is that you also prioritize fertility self-care, which again consists of doing certain fertility methods regularly. So if you're wondering what I mean when I say fertility methods or natural fertility methods, I'm talking about things like deep breathing, okay, breathing exercises. Believe it or not, these are also highly, effective and good for fertility, poor equality, and other reproductive issues. I can't talk a lot. I guess I can, but I don't want to go too deep into why deep breathing is. But just to give you something, you release 70% of toxins through your breath when you exhale, right? So that just gives you an indication and a clue that just simply deep breathing helps to detoxify your body, which is going to help to give your liver a break. Okay, because your liver is working really, really hard to balance the estrogen and to balance other hormones, right? And so natural fertility methods also looks like yoga, fertility yoga, especially not any type of yoga. So you see, you can get very, very specific, but doing certain fertility yoga exercises that are gonna do things like open the hips, balance hormones, relieve stress and pressure, and regulate your cycle. Okay, natural fertility methods can also look like Yoni steaming. It can also look like womb or ovarian massage. Okay, and so again, if you want to learn more about that, just stay to the end a little bit more. But again, these are some fertility self-care activities. But one of the biggest ones, okay, if you don't do anything else that I mentioned, is to ensure that you are getting 6 to 9 hours of restful sleep at night. Okay, what did I say? When did I say? I said at night, sis. I didn't say in the day. I didn't say in the day if you use black curtains. I didn't say in the day sometimes. No, regular sleep, 6 to 9 hours of sleep. Almost, I want to just say every night, like especially when you're on your fertility journey and you're already having issues. Okay, and the reason why I'm saying this and being as clear as I am with this is because while I do understand that some women work shifts and work nights, your body is already pre-programmed. It's already in sync with the planet's day and night cycle, known as the circadian rhythm. Okay, it synchronizes with the moon and the sun, all of that. Okay, and that is why we have like melatonin and serotonin, and why you may have heard that taking one or both of these herbs are also beneficial for fertility, right? So getting 6 to 9 hours of sleep at night is going to be your natural supplementation for that melatonin serotonin balance that you might be imbalanced of, right? Another reason why you want to do this is because your body heals at night. Okay, your body restores damaged tissues, damaged cells, it heals and repairs while you are sleeping. And again, while you're sleeping, you're breathing a lot, you're exhaling a lot of toxins out of your lungs, out of your body. So you want to make sure that you're not getting interrupted sleep, and you really want to, as much as you can, get a lot of that REM sleep, that rapid eye movement sleep, okay, that you may or may not have heard about, right? So again, 6 to 9 hours of sleep is going to help to balance your hormones and again, get you in sync with the circadian rhythm of the planet, right? So what's going to happen if you do this step number 3? Okay, let me just bring you back one more time. Step number 3 is again to prioritize fertility self-care in your life, to practice natural fertility methods, and to get 6 to 9 hours of sleep at night. Okay. And so what's going to happen is going to help you to improve your circulation. So you're getting fresh oxygenated blood. It's going to help you to have better periods and regulate your ovulation cycle. It's going to help you to balance your hormones, and this is going to result in better egg quality, implantation, chances of conception. Again, other things, a lot of other benefits, you know, possibly shrinking fibroids, minimizing or eliminating endometrial tissue and growth. And again, just restoring ovulation if you have things like PCOS. So trying these steps that I just mentioned here, this can work for you. Okay, it may work for you. So step number 4 is exercise. This is not the favorite one, I know, of everyone. Okay, unless you know, if you like exercise, then definitely this one is for you. But if you don't like exercise, more importantly, it's doubly for you, right? So the problem with when it comes to exercise is, or just movement in general, is that we are too sedentary, you know, as a society nowadays, right? And especially for women, because we have a lot of desk jobs. Dad work from home, and my God damn it, desk job, okay, is what I'm trying to get away from every single day, which is why I have created the programs that I have created, or one of the reasons why I created the programs, or I should say it's one of the reasons why I definitely participate in the programs with you, because not everyone that creates fertility programs or anything like that does what I do, right? But I'm pretty sure you can agree that as women, we typically, you know, maybe too sedentary due to our lifestyle, work, and things like that, right? Even our hobbies, you know, sewing. I love to sew, but it requires, in most cases, that you sit down, unless you have maybe a new advanced sewing machine that I haven't seen yet. Okay. But too sedentary, and this can lead to poor circulation. This can lead to hormonal imbalance. It can lead to weak and sluggish womb and ovaries and other reproductive structures and organs. And if that's the case, you know, this can cause problems during pregnancy, where your body cannot hold the weight of the baby, cannot, you know, and that can lead to unwanted outcomes, as you know, can imagine, and even after pregnancy, right? So exercise is going to help you throughout, you know, if you do it right. So another issue here is that you may be energy deficient if you're too athletic, like if you work out too much, right? So you do have to have a certain degree of balance, okay, when it comes to exercise, and you don't want to be exercising too much. So if you're like a highly driven athlete, if you are like Serena Williams, or if you're like, you know, a marathon runner, you might need to tone it down a little bit, right? Whereas if you are too sedentary, you might need to turn it up, right? And so if you are too athletic, the risk here is energy deficiency, okay, where again, the energy in your body is going towards muscles, is going towards repairing tissues that have been damaged. So tissue damage due to like stress or strain in your ligaments or something like that, injury, you know, and the body might not be able to heal itself fast enough. And so the energy is going there, and it's just never enough to go towards hormone production or repairing cells in the reproductive organs, right? So when it comes to exercise, too much or too little is not good. And again, overall, this can lead to hormonal imbalances, which can look like blocked blockages in the body, okay? And the thing is that your liver has to overwork itself in a lot of cases if there's hormonal imbalances, especially if there's like estrogen dominance, right? So your body is going, you might also have liver issues. You might have thyroid issues, right? So if you're exercising too much or too little, these can be some issues that you might experience, right? And even if you have like PCOS or testosterone dominance, your liver is still going to be working hard, and that's why you might be prescribed metformin, right? Which is going to work on the liver. So you want to make sure that you have like a balanced exercise plan or exercise routine. And just to talk about that a little more as we get into the solutions here, one of the solutions is to practice a gentle exercise routine, right? So nothing too extreme, but nothing too close to your normal exercise routine, or sorry, your normal daily activities that it's not causing an impact. So let's say that you already are walking around a lot at work. I used to work in a clothing store and there were no chairs. So we were always on our feet, walking back and forth throughout the clothing store, working in the back, working in the front, picking up orders, sometimes, walking around even when the only chair was at lunchtime if you went and sat on the bench. So anyways, always on my feet. But that would not be considered exercise. Okay. That would just be considered like a normal activity that you are performing, that your body is used to. Right. And so if you're struggling to conceive, what you might want to do is exercise a little more, or like, be a little more active or a little less active, depending on, again, the nature of your work. If the nature of your work is filming an athlete while the athlete runs, which I know not a lot of women do that, but there are some people that have this type of business. If your normal activity is being, very, very active, then you might need to tone that down. But again, like I said, you want to practice a gentle exercise routine. So this could look like doing something like fertility yoga for about 15 to 30 minutes, two to three times a week, right? So it doesn't have to be fertility yoga. It could be something else. Maybe you like to do another activity. You can, again, as long as it's not something that's too strenuous or something that's going to leave you out of breath or something that's going to leave you tired, then chances are it's probably going to be a gentle exercise. And again, if you have questions, definitely leave your questions about that in the comments. So again, the exercise that you routine that you do, or whatever one you choose, it should be something that, again, you should be able to have a conversation with while you are doing it. All right. So that's a good example of something that's not too extreme. If you're an athlete, unless you're really, really used to, well, if you're not an athlete, you're probably not going to be able to have a conversation if you just decide to do like a 10-mile run today. So I'm not telling anyone to go out there and do 10-mile runs. Don't do a 10-mile run. Matter of fact, don't do a 1-mile run if you can't hold a conversation while you're doing it. So again, it should be something that is just a little bit outside of your normal activity, but not something that is too extreme that you cannot properly like function or focus or anything like that. So just about 15 to 30 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week should be okay, right? So another thing you can do is to supplement your diet with herbal supplements or teas. And again, when it comes to this, one of the reasons why you want to do that is if you're like energy deficient, right? So again, you can consume a lot of nutritive herbs, like again, your red raspberry, your nettle, your ostra, your maca. But also you might want to also consume CoQ10, which is going to supply your cells with energy in the form of ATP, right? So the mitochondria in your cells have been shown to hold more ATP or more energy, like I think around the time of ovulation, right? There's the energy levels, they go up and down, right? And again, they're getting it in the form of ATP, and CoQ10 helps to supply your body with that, or with energy that your cells intake as ATP. So consuming CoQ10 or ubiquinol is one thing that you can do or you can try in order to help you conceive. When I take CoQ10, I do not have any more. I'll just say this. I used to have really, really bad headaches maybe like a year and a half ago. And headaches is something that I've struggled with my whole life for the most part. But since I started taking CoQ10 about a year and a half ago, I haven't really had headaches like that. And I took it at a time when I was getting, really, really severe. They were just getting worse and worse. I took it at a time around that time, and I haven't really even needed to take the CoQ10 that much since then, and I haven't really even gotten any like terrible headaches or anything like that since then. If you go to my blog, I even have a blog written about it, like on my fertility page. It doesn't have much to do with fertility, but it was that bad that I had to write it on my blog. So anyways, CoQ10, again, that's one of the things it's good for, because it's supplying your body with the energy. It's giving your cells what it needs. So yeah. So another thing you can do is get 6 to 9 hours of sleep here. So especially if you are very athletic. If you're very athletic, you want to make sure that you're giving your body the time it needs to rest and restore, to heal and repair damaged tissues and damaged cells, right? So if you're too sedentary, you don't necessarily need the 6 to 9 hours of sleep if you're getting plenty of rest and relaxation. But again, it can also help if you have like hormonal imbalance and things like that. But I definitely encourage you to get some more movement in your life if you are sedentary. And again, there is no shame here when it comes to being sedentary or anything like that, because like I mentioned, I can be pretty sedentary when I am focusing on like creating content and things like that. And I try to balance that with actually, teaching my programs live and doing the activities that I'm mentioning here with you, right? So when I'm talking about doing the exercise 15 to 30 minutes twice a week, I mean, I'm doing it with you, so I'm not just telling you to do things that I'm not willing to do myself or that I wouldn't do myself. And because I understand the challenge that, the inherent challenge of just not doing something outside of your comfort zone or something that you're not used to, right? So what can happen if you implement this exercise technique that I'm sharing here with you today is that you can experience more improvement in circulation to your ovaries, which is going to transfer to your eggs. Okay, help to eliminate toxins out of your body, give your liver a break. That's one of the benefits of exercise. So even if you don't like exercise, just consider the benefits that it can have on your liver, your reproductive system, how it can give your liver a break, which can when it comes to eliminating toxins and things like that. So exercise is also really good if you have anxiety and if you have stress, especially related to waiting to conceive. It's going to help with hormonal balance, or it may help with hormonal balance depending on what type of hormonal imbalances you may face. Exercise, one of the things that I love about exercise, okay, is that it does wonders for your reproductive system. It does wonders for vaginal tightness, wet cervical mucus. We don't realize it. You might not notice it if you haven't really done certain exercise activities, but like, I'll just give you a little tip. If you're feeling a little sluggish or not as as you might want to be, a couple squats, okay, hit me in the comments and let me know, okay, the difference. Okay, just doing some squats. You don't even need to do other things like Kegels or things like that if you do a couple squats, right? And it works fast. So like, I'm just showing you, like, this stuff really, really helps. Okay. And that's also, it also lets you know that exercise is helping to tone and stimulate your reproductive system, which includes your ovaries, okay, and your uterus, which can, again, minimize the chances of like weak or sluggish uterus or ovaries and eggs and things like this. Not eggs, but ovaries, tubes, reproductive systems. And so here, the problem here, before I go on, is that if your ovaries or your reproductive organs, like your uterus, your womb, if they are weak and sluggish, that means that they're not going to be pulsing as they need to. They're not going to be contracting, okay, and producing the hormones, or balancing the hormones, or regulating the hormones in the way that they need to, maybe not producing enough. So you're going to have like overmethylation or just not enough estrogen, or whatever the case may be. Right. So having a regular, balanced, gentle, feminine exercise routine can help here. And so overall, this can lead to better egg quality, better cycles, a better reproductive health, especially like I mentioned, if you have fertility issues like fibroid, endo, PCOS, and all of that, and adenomyosis, the list goes on. I understand polyps, if I'm not mentioning it, it's probably in, you probably can benefit from these 5 tips that I'm mentioning here. So we're at number 5, but again, just to refresh, okay, like I mentioned, you want to practice a gentle exercise routine, which means regularly, but not too much, okay? Not too excessive, gentle, okay, exercise routine. Consider supplementing your diet, okay, with CoQ10, and making sure that you're getting 6 to 9 hours of sleep at night, especially if you are highly athletic, okay? And even if you're not, just to help to balance with the hormones. Okay. So number 5, the 5th thing that you want to do is, again, to improve your lifestyle, okay, as it relates to fertility. So this is not me coming for your relationship. It's not me coming for your work ethic. It is not me coming for, your finances or, your household, nothing like that. I'm talking about how these 4 things that I just mentioned, how they fit into your life, or how you are able to balance them in your life. Okay. So maybe you are doing one of the things that I mentioned, but you're not doing all. Maybe you're not doing any of them, right? Improving your lifestyle um, can look like making sure that, again, you're able to fit these in. But before I get too far into that, I just want to talk about some of the issues that you may face why you cannot, or why you haven't been able to do this yet, right? So one of the problems is, back to the first thing that we were talking about when it came to mindset. Okay, the mistakes and the myths and the misinformation that you may have received, this can cause a lack of clarity. So again, not your fault, but due to us not cleaning out the mental garbage, okay, it can cause confusion and clutter and trash that manifests itself in our lifestyle. Okay. And in this instance, it can manifest as a lack of clarity. Okay, hold on. No, I'm not. Okay. Sorry about that. All right. So we were talking about, let me see. We were talking about, again, lifestyle as it relates to mental clarity. Okay, so again, the myths, the mistakes, or the misinformation that you receive, it can cause a lack of clarity. Okay, so this means confusion. Okay, over like what to do today. Just basic confusion, like, should you eat the fruit or should you not eat the fruit? Should you eat breakfast? Should you not eat breakfast? So things like that, right? It can cause confusion. It can cause you to not trust your body. Okay, again, the misinformation that you've believed that now is affecting your lifestyle could look like you not trusting your body. It could look like you trying harder and harder, to conceive, because you don't trust your body. You don't trust that your womb is gonna heal, or that your eggs, you're gonna be able to produce eggs. You don't trust that you're gonna ovulate this month. You don't trust that uh IVF is gonna work for you, whatever the case may be. You know, um, this lack of clarity can also look like you not being able to put together um everything that you've learned, everything that you know about fertility. So even me sharing these 4 tips with you, if you find it difficult to put these 4 things together, go get that one. It could be due to, again, this misinformation. Like, maybe you're still struggling to even understand, like, how is yoga or how is exercise going to improve your fertility or your equality. If you're still struggling in that area, okay, again, it could stem back to the myths and the misinformation that you're receiving. And that's why dealing with the mindset is so important to do first, right? So, and again, this is it's nothing that you're doing wrong. It's just knowing where you might need to focus on first, okay, can help here, right? So again, it could look like not putting it all together, like I mentioned, not being able to create a strategy, not being able to create a system that you feel makes sense and works for you, right? And that can lead to complacency, because if you're confused, you throw your hands in the air and you're like, well, I'm just not going to do anything. If it's meant to be, it's not meant to be, whatever the case may be, right? And ultimately, that's you not taking any action. And unfortunately, when it comes to our fertility, if you don't make a positive impact in your lifestyle, if you don't make any changes, things tend to get worse, right? So complacency or not taking action, that's a huge issue when it comes to your lifestyle that you are already living. Because if the things you're already doing in your lifestyle are not, improving your fertility, and they're not, if it's not working for you, then again, that leads to more problems in this case, right? So another problem when it comes to lifestyle is a lack of consistency. Okay, and this can look like starting or stopping a lot of different, even if you take programs, fertility programs or courses, it can look like starting and stopping. Maybe you buy coaching for 1 month, and then you stop for 2 months, and then go and do something else in month 4 or something like that. Or maybe you're very inconsistent with how you are consuming your supplements, or how you are practicing your fertility self-care routine. Close the door, right? The inconsistency in your lifestyle is going to affect your hormones. It's going to affect your mood. It's going to affect your energy levels. It's going to affect close the door. It's going to affect the distribution of nutrients, to your ovaries and to your eggs, and it's going to affect your detoxification system. All of it is affected. If there's imbalance anywhere in our body, there's our lifestyle, there's imbalance in our body as well, and vice versa, right? And so it could also look like having you doing something different each month, which is kind of the same thing as starting and stopping. But if you're doing something completely and totally different every month, okay, this can also be due to, again, confusion, lack of clarity, but also having shiny object syndrome. So believing that, the thing you're doing now doesn't work because it doesn't work, and that the next thing that you're going to do is going to work because it's just the next thing. Just because something is the next thing doesn't necessarily mean that it works any better or any worse than what you may already have tried in the past or what you are doing now. A lot of times we are just lacking that consistency, that clarity, that that strategy, and a lot of other things, like awareness, like knowing what works, putting all these things together that I've just mentioned, right? And so if you're having like shiny object syndrome, thinking that the next thing is working, that's going to also that also ties into your lifestyle. What else is a shiny object for you in your lifestyle? Are you just wanting to conceive this month, but next month you're not trying because next month you saw something, and now you're going and you're trying to do that, and all your attention is going to that, and you're delaying, prioritizing your fertility, is another person, the shiny object syndrome for you, whatever the case may be, right? And again, not your fault, just make sure that you're paying attention to how these things are showing up in your life and how it's affecting your lifestyle, which is affecting your fertility as well, right? That's why I'm sharing it here with you. So another issue when it comes to lifestyle, which relates to fertility, is not having a strategy to improve fertility, right? So again, like I said, your lifestyle is like your default routine. That's your default strategy. Your lifestyle, if you just leave her, it will be better because she's not making any noise. Just leave her. Right? So hold on. Okay, so like I was saying, yeah, so your lifestyle is your default fertility strategy or infertility strategy, okay? According to me, your lifestyle, your current lifestyle that you're leading, if it's not helping you to improve your hormones, have better cycles, if it's not doing all of those things, go. If it's not helping you to do all of those things, that default lifestyle, I would just consider it an infertility lifestyle, and, you know, make certain changes that I've mentioned here in order to restore fertility, right? So not having a strategy is what that looks like. Not having a fertility strategy in the current lifestyle that you have now is also an issue, because you don't have a plan for fertility. Okay. And if you don't have a plan for fertility, then you lack clear goals. So again, I'm just pointing all of these things out for you to let you know what the issues are, so that you know why the solution that I'm about to give you is important. So again, this is nothing for you to feel ashamed or worried about or anything, or feel like I'm coming at you. I'm not. I'm just letting you know what I've seen in the past, or what I have noticed that is like one of the reasons why we're not already doing this. Because again, you know, unless you're a fertility coach, you probably don't know this, right? So here we go. So also, trying anything and everything can come from not having a strategy. If you had a strategy, you wouldn't need to do that, right? And it could also be a reason why maybe even if you are sort of doing one of the things that I mentioned in here and you're doing it really, really good, like let's say you're eating a really clean diet, or you're practicing yoga all the time. There's a lot of, you know, yoga information out there. Let's say maybe you're practicing yoga and you're practicing fertility yoga all the time. Maybe you do mindset activities all day, all night, in the evening, you know, while you're sleeping, right? Or let's say that self-care activities is your thing. You are Yoni steaming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you know, you are doing all of the feminine fertility methods that you've heard me mention in the past, right? But if you're just doing one of these things only, right, that might not be enough either, right? You might need a better strategy that encompasses some of the other steps that I've mentioned here. Or maybe if you're doing only one of these things, maybe you're not doing them frequently enough, right? So again, individually, they're good. All, you know, the 4 steps that I've mentioned so far, but together they might not be enough, right? And so if all of these things are not working for you, you know, if you're having issues in your lifestyle altogether, it could also look like low confidence. You know, if you're having issues in trying to conceive, it could look like not trusting your body, having low confidence, not making intuitive decisions because you don't trust your decision-making process. It could look like you having a low vibe, low energy, low mood, lacking the willpower to again, to take action, right? And this can also lead to you having anxiety, high levels of stress, and just really, really low self-worth and low self-value, right? And so again, these are some of the problems that you might be experiencing, or some of the problems that might come about from not having, again, any of the other factors I mentioned, and also not putting them all together and not having a strategy plan or support, right? So we're going to talk about what some of the solutions to this is. So some of the solutions here, this is step number 5. This is kind of like a bonus step, just like step number 5 in and of itself is a bonus, because step number 5 is again, improving your fertility lifestyle, which encompasses all the other 4 things. So it's kind of like doing the first 4 things that I mentioned and then putting it together, right? So the solution here is to prioritize fertility in your life once again, to put all of the Mency steps, and I call them Mency: mindset, nutrition, self-care, and exercise. Put all these Mency steps on your calendar and schedule them out, okay? So go through each one of them again and make sure that you set time aside for each one of them. Also, prioritizing is going to help to improve your self-worth. Yeah? No. Okay, and it's going to help you to start to develop trust in your body. Practicing the mindset, nutrition, and self-care steps that I mentioned today all at once is one of the solutions as well as making sure that you're receiving support and coaching in the things that you need help with. So if you're struggling in any of these areas, getting fertility support or fertility coaching can also help you to be more strategic, to, you know, help you so you can have someone that you can bounce ideas off of if you have questions, or if you want to know a little bit more about something, or just get more clarity. It can also help you with emotional support. And another reason why having like getting a fertility coaching or support can help is that it takes the anxiety and the edge off, because now you have like someone who can actually help you with your situation, that cares, and that is there for you, and that's their main focus, is ensuring that you're happy, cared for, and that you're on the right track as far as it relates to fertility. Another solution that can help you to improve your fertility lifestyle is to take a program or a course that helps you move in the direction that you're trying to go with in your unique fertility situation. So this can also help you to move faster, to have a more streamlined approach, and to be more consistent in your fertility goals, right? So making sure that you're not doing the starting or stopping, making sure that, again, you are sort of sticking to one key strategy that encompasses all of the 4 things that I've mentioned. And it can also, again, help you to find answers to your questions, to take action, and give you the easy route, right? So a lot of times when you're doing things on your own, it really looks like you trying harder and harder, or trying harder and not necessarily smarter. Getting coaching, fertility support, or taking a fertility program or course, it helps, again, make the process easier, faster, more streamlined, strategic. Okay, so that way you're working smarter, not harder, right? And so ultimately, you deserve, to conceive. You deserve to have a baby. You deserve to not have to try harder than the next chick, okay, than the next woman, right? And so why not? Why not, consider these options when it comes to fertility? So again, to improve your lifestyle. So again, just to mention, here is that the solution that you want to do to improve your fertility lifestyle is to prioritize your fertility in your life, practice the mindset, nutrition, and self-care and exercise methods that I mentioned, or MENSI, or to receive support and coaching in the things you need help with when it comes to fertility, and or take a fertility coaching program or course. So if you do these things, you don't necessarily need to know all the answers. You don't have to spend hours and hours researching on Google. Again, you'll have someone that you can bounce ideas off, or if you're taking like a program, or if if you're taking a program, for example, let me just say here, if you're taking a program, chances are the questions will already be answered in the program for you, right? So a lot of the things that you might want to know, like, why does fertility yoga help improve fertility? Well, if you take a course that consists of practicing fertility yoga, chances are the course is going to help to answer that program, or you'll be able to ask the instructor. And the same goes for any other question within the capacity of said course, right? So the courses, program, the lifestyle, if you have a fertility lifestyle in place, another thing that can happen is that you will begin to see, like I mentioned, you'll start to develop trust in your body. The reason why this is because if you are being strategic, if you put all these MENSI activities in place, the mindset, self-care, nutrition, and exercise, you put them all into place into your lifestyle, you'll start to see changes that will reaffirm your self-trust in yourself, your self-worth, and again, that you don't necessarily need to know everything. Like, you don't need to know why every supplement works. You don't need to know why every yoga pose works. You don't need to know what every hormone means. You don't need to know what every single cycle of the menstrual cycle means. Just by putting certain these 5 or these 4 tips together into tip number 5, your lifestyle, just putting these in together can help you to get closer to your baby, to become pregnant, because your body is going to take over. Your body is pre-designed, okay, to already conceive. It just needs what it needs, and it wants what it wants. And a lot of times that looks like energy, sleep, food, and some other stuff, some self-care. I'll just say that. Right? So And again, you give your body what it needs and it will do the rest, right? And so again, another thing that you can get from putting these tips together into your lifestyle is a ritual that leads to better egg quality, better fertility, um, and better cycles, reproductive health, and to ease your anxiety, right? So that way you can get pregnant easy and effortlessly, right? So I hope that this has helped you. I've gone over a lot today. I did not expect it to be this long, but I went through each and every point I could go through. I would just leave that there and not go so deep into everything. But today I just wanted to make sure that for this or next year that you are fully prepared, right? So again, just to recap, step one is to improve your mindset by practicing mindset habits for at least 15 minutes in the morning. So let's say your affirmations, manifesting your goals, your vision board, looking at stuff like that. Step number two is making sure that you're getting adequate nutrition, making sure you're eating a protein-rich breakfast, so your dark leafy greens, avoiding sugar in the morning, eating intuitively, macronutriently balanced diet. Okay, so your protein and your making sure you're getting your protein and your fats and reducing your carbs. Making sure you're supplementing your diet with herbal supplements, okay, that are nutritive, and of course don't contraindicate with anything. Again, speak to your healthcare provider about that, or nutritionist, or herbalist or something, which I do operate as a herbalist as well. But aside from that, make step number three is self-care, making sure that you are prioritizing fertility self-care and general self-care. Make sure you're practicing natural fertility methods, such as, again, deep breathing, womb massage, fertility yoga, Yoni steaming, making sure you're getting 6 to 9 hours of sleep at night, again, because that's when your body heals and restores itself. Step number four is making sure that you're practicing a gentle exercise routine, such as fertility yoga, 15 to 30 minutes a week, two to three times a week. Supplementing your diet with, say, CoQ10 in the form of ubiquinol, and also taking other nutritive herbs as well. Getting 6 to 9 hours of sleep, especially if you are over athletic, or even if you're under athletic, to help to balance your hormones and repair tissues after you exercise, right? And funny thing is, exercise actually helps you get more sleep. Step number five is, again, improving your lifestyle by prioritizing fertility in your life. Put in the mindset, nutrition, and self-care, and exercise onto your calendar, practicing them synchronistically together as one, right? Increasing your self-worth, and starting to develop more trust in your body are some of the things you can notice with that. Making sure that you're also practicing the MENSI, or the mindset, nutrition, and self-care methods, again, regularly, again, in a strategic way, like in an actual routine, right? And also making sure that you're receiving some form of fertility support or coaching. So, even if it's from a friend or family member that has been through it before you and knows how to get you the desired result that you're looking for, that counts. Or you can also go the route of a fertility coach, who typically works with more clients or more people and has seen what works several times, right? So this helps you to be more strategic, someone you can bounce ideas off of, and offers emotional support so you can, again, improve your fertility easily and effortlessly, or more effortlessly. And again, making sure that you're taking a program or course to move faster and more streamlined, right? So you don't have to know all the answers. You don't have to try to figure it all out on your own. And again, you just take the easy route and work easier, not harder. So if this has helped you, I have some things that you might be interested in, or if you want to learn more, I have some things that you might be interested in. Number one is to download my free top 5 ways to improve your egg quality guide. And you can get that at natasiawinter.com/egg quality. And this guide is going to help you to understand, again, 5 ways that you can improve egg quality. I've gone over some of the things here, but if you want it in written form, if you want to have the guide that you can look over yourself, make sure to download that guide. I'm actually uploading it and hopefully going to get the brand new version out for you today, okay, which is going to be a lot more interactive and just have a lot more clear and concise information as to why the methods that I mentioned in this free guide work. Okay. So again, you can download my free egg quality guide at natasiwinter.com/egg quality, or click the link in the description. Number 2 is to register for my webinar so you can learn the 3 dangers to egg quality, and how to prepare your eggs for fertility and protect your fertility so you can conceive more easily and effortlessly. So to register for that webinar, go to natasiwinter.com/fertility prep. Okay, so this is especially good, again, during this time, or any time really, but whenever you are wanting like a refresher, preparing your body for fertility is always good whenever you're trying to like start your fertility routine for the first time, or go through all of the steps that I've mentioned, such as like unlearning the misinformation and things like that. Just knowing what the dangers are can also significantly help you to avoid them, and therefore help you to improve your fertility, right? So to register for fertility prep, our fertility preparation, are the 3 dangers to your fertility and egg quality, and how to protect your eggs so you can improve your fertility naturally and effortlessly. Go to natasiawinter.com/fertility prep. And then also, I am currently going to launch a live program, one of my programs called Fertility Goddess Rituals, which you might also know as 7 Fast Feminine Fertility Rituals or fertility techniques. Okay, so in this course, I teach you 7 fast feminine fertility techniques, including Yoni steaming and womb massage and womb breathing, and some of the things I've mentioned, fertility yoga, and about 3 more things there. Okay, so if you want to learn about that, you can join at natasiwinter.com/fertility goddess rituals. Okay, so again, in that course, I teach you the 7 fast feminine fertility techniques that I teach in my courses. Okay, and this is really good if you want a self-care, if you want to create a self-care routine, and you want to make sure that you are putting practices in there that are really going to help to improve your fertility and your egg quality. So again, those 3 things are what I highly suggest that you do if you want to learn more. And just to recap, step 1 is to improve your mindset. Step 2 is to improve your nutrition. Step 3 is to improve your self-care or have a fertility self-care practice. Step 4 is to practice fertility exercise. And step 5 is to practice a fertility lifestyle, right? So these are all programs that I teach in my feminine fertility, or sorry, these are all things I teach in my feminine fertility lifestyle program, which you can enroll in. I'm opening enrollment for my feminine fertility lifestyle program, as well as my new program, the Fertility Frequency Mastermind program. For my Fertility Frequency Mastermind program, you do need to apply. So the links for that are in the description. And also, all of this information is going to be in my forthcoming book. So if you're excited about all of this information, I would really, really love if you would pre-register for the book, okay? Which I'm going to hopefully release within the next couple of months, again. But to learn more about that, pre-register for that in the description. And let me just see if I can, I'm still working on the name for this book, but let me see if I can get you the name for this book. Oh my God. Well, I'm going to put the name in the description because, again, like I said, I'm still working on different names for the book. But again, all of these things will be in there. So thank you for watching. I really, really hope that you found this information useful and valuable. If you did, please let me know in the comment section which one stood out for you the most, if you had any ahas, and if you're going to try any of these tips to get pregnant this or next year. All right, so I will see you in another video. Thank you for watching.